Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. This is massive, massive news. It's not really, I don't think, going to impact Caitlin Clark, but it is a change made, I think, because of Caitlin Clark, or at least in large part because of Caitlin Clark and the absolute fiasco of the Olympic team selection process for last summer's Olympics. You remember the uproar. Caitlin Clark didn't get selected. A lot of course, you had the typical sports media was completely in favor of that and bashing her and saying why she's not good enough and she didn't go to this and that because of course they had a camp during the Final Four, which is ridiculous. And again, it shouldn't matter, and I'm sure there are many cases where it didn't matter. She had already proven herself in college and already in the WNBA, which I'll go through briefly just as a reminder to show you. But this is absolutely a huge announcement here. We have Sue Bird, as you can see, USA Basketball moving women to men's model under Sue Bird. So what does that mean? Well, as you may recall, the on the women's side there was a selection committee, right? There were a number of people that selected this team, and that is going to makes that a massive change to the men's model, which is now Bird's appointment. Is going to put all that decision-making responsibilities for the coaching staff and the roster and all of that solely in her hand. She is going to be now, of course, I'm sure she will have people around her that will give input and scouting and all of that, but ultimately the decision for the roster will rest in Sue Bird's hand, which is a dramatic difference on the women's side. So as you can see here, USA Basketball will announce Sue Bird as the managing director for the women's national team Thursday morning. A source confirmed to Front Office Sports. Bird's new role is a major change, as I mentioned, for USA Basketball. Previously, the women's team and coaching staff was named by committee. Now that will be Bird's job, and I am in favor of this, regardless of who they picked. Um, but I just think something like this, and again, you can have a lot of input, right? Sue's going to have resources and people around her, but ultimately, it has to be one person that makes the decision, right? This isn't a direct comparison, but for those of you sports fans like that have, fans of other teams and other sports, and Dallas Cowboys are a great example. Is you have to have someone making the decisions for the roster and roster moves. And when you get, say, a meddling owner, it can become a problem, right? When you get the whole cooks in the kitchen thing, you know what I'm talking about. So I think this is going to be better for the US. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be issues. Of course, it's just like anything else in sports. Any declaration, any roster made, any list of this, best that is always going to 2028 rolls around and the team is selected, there are going to be people who pick it apart. But I think overall, this is a good decision for the Olympic team. I think this is a good decision getting Sue Bird involved. Oh, come on, that pump up took half an hour to get to me. Um, so it's going to be very interesting, I think, these changes. It's going to have a huge impact on how the team is put together. Bird, who's a four-time WNBA champ on her own as a player. So, yeah, I mean, I guess she's going after another Olympic medal as well as a part of the Olympic team outside of being a player. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, Los Angeles is going to be where the 2028 Olympics are being held. So it will be right here in the USA. So no pressure on Sue to keep the gold medal streak alive for the WNBA. No pressure at all. But like it says here, the U.S. women's national team further solidified its dominance, winning its eighth straight Olympic gold medal this summer, led by Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl Reeves. Of course, as we know, Gabby Williams was a few inches, right? A part of her foot away from sending that gold medal game into overtime. That would have been interesting to see, especially since the WNBA, the US Olympic team got, other than what maybe Jackie Young, got no help from its guards at all. Uh, as it says here, it's not clear who Burr will tap as coach for the next Olympic cycle. That will be interesting. I don't think Reeve is good for Caitlin Clark, but neither will the two they mentioned here, Dawn Staley, Gino Ariema, not good. The Gino should be neither one, actually, now I think that neither one should be anywhere near the 2028 Olympic team and Caitlin Clark. In both cases, Gino, we know his hatred for Caitlin Clark. Dawn's got that too, but she's a little smarter than Gino. She kind of, says some things here and there to keep people off her back. But in Dawn's case, as we all know, at South Carolina, she is absolutely incapable of developing a guard into next level play, into a next level player. Now, she shouldn't have to develop players for the Olympics, of course, but I don't have faith in her handling the team the right way, especially if, as I think it will be in 2028, the WNBA is going to be more of a guard dominated league, and you're, of course, going to have very good guards on the Olympic team. Dawn Staley is not the coach for that. But moving on with the stuff about Bird, her appointment precedes a potentially younger iteration of the women's national team marked by new prospects, including Caitlin. Oh my God, they can't stop. They can't stop. Angel Reese had to be the next name. I will say it right now. Angel Reese should not make the Olympic team. Now, that may change as things move along, and I will happily say that she deserves it if she does. But right now, from what I no. So Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers, of course, none of whom who were selected for the team in Paris. I don't know why Angel Reese or Paige Beckers would be. There are questions regarding a number of veteran players returning, including guard Chelsea Gray and center Brittany Griner. Yeah, it was a very old Olympic team, and we saw that. They sort of skated by. Clark was left off the 2024 Olympic roster by the committee, which of course drew heavy criticism, as it should have. They cited, of course, the limited participation at Team USA camps heading into the Olympics. That is absolutely nonsense. They also talked about, I forget who said it off the top of my head, because I did a video on it way back then, talked about it was because of Caitlin Clark's fans why they left off. But just that's a quick reminder for those of you who didn't see it, because this is going way back about 10 months or so. I did a deep dive video into Caitlin Clark versus the Olympic guards, the guards that made the Olympic team that were announced at the time that it happened. And keep in mind, this was Caitlin Clark, what? I think at the time of the selection committee was made was maybe what, three 3 weeks, not even a month into the WNBA season, but she had her college resume. But the point being, this was Caitlin Clark at her worst, right? When the sports media and everyone who was a Haitlin was saying how much she was struggling. PPS, for those who don't know, is points per shot. It's simply total points divided by field goal attempts. So it sort of takes into consideration everything, right? So it evens out the whole 3 pointers versus 2 pointers, and it also includes free throws, free throw percentages, of course, as well. So it's just talk about efficiency. It's how many points does a player produce for every field goal attempt that they take. Caitlin Clark was at 1.30 points per shot at the time. Her TS at 56.9%. She was averaging 16.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 1.4 steals, zero point 0.9 blocks. And I just sort of took through the whole thing, right? Like here was Jackie Young at the time, only 1.23 points. Her total shooting percentage was less. She added more points, but obviously she was taking more shots to get it. Not as many rebounds, not as many assists, not as many steals, not as many blocks. She did have a decent assist to turnover ratio. But again, so you can't tell me Sabrina Ionescu, only 1.2 points. Her total shooting percentage was less, so obviously she took more shots, fewer rebounds, fewer assists, although pretty good there. Fewer steals, fewer blocks. Her assist to turnover ratio was pretty good. And again, I went through all of them, and you cannot find Kalia Copper closer. tied in total shooting, slightly behind the points. Obviously, she took a lot of shots, fewer rebounds, a lot fewer assists, fewer steals, slightly ahead on blocks, and she actually had a negative assist to turnover ratio. Kelsey Plum way down here, far off from Caitlin Clark. Total shooting percentage, yeah, she took more shots. That's why your points per game is up higher. Caitlin, as we know, wasn't taking a lot of shots. They increased as the season went, but not even close in rebounds, not there in assists, not there in steals, not there in blocks. Good assist to turnover ratio that though. I absolutely will give her that. And I just do a couple more. Jewel Lloyd also not even close. Absolute awful 1.04 points per shot, total shooting percentage of 45.3%. Might be the only player I see under 50%, which is absolutely wild. And then, of course, there was finally uh, Diana Taurasi, and Caitlin's numbers better than Diana's too. 1.2, TS 54.3. Caitlin's better than that. The points per game, she took more shots. Caitlin had more rebounds, far more assists, more steals, more blocks. DT's assist to turnover ratio not even that good. But anyway, I just thought this was a massive, massive change. So I really did want to just talk about it, let you know about it. And I think this really is going to change how the team is selected. Now, again, nothing makes the situation perfect, right? Like I mentioned, Gino Ariema would be a really bad coach. Well, imagine if he got Sue Bird's position and he made the final decision. I I could see Caitlin Clark not being on the 2028 Olympic team. Absolutely, Paige Beckers would be, right? Like, so yeah, you can have those issues. I don't see that with Sue Bird in terms of Caitlin Clark, but it's interesting that this change happened because here's my guess, and that's why I said it wasn't directly about Clark because I can't believe anyone would keep her on the off the 28 team, even with a committee. But I don't think this change happens if we didn't have what we had last year with Caitlin Clark being kept off of the team. But um, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Yes, we are on the road to 12,000. Really do appreciate all of you, and I will talk to you later. Oh, and of course, go have the day you deserve.